Hello and welcome to another update from me, James O'Connell, Principal here at TCS Exeter Road, and hopefully lots of good news really as we look ahead. The sun is shining, spring is coming, and finally we're getting back to some form of normal school and normality, I think we all hope. So this is just a brief update from me about the way ahead. We don't have detailed plans yet, and I'm sorry that I can't tell you everything straight away. There's an awful lot to take into account, of course. What we do know is that schools are opening on the 8th of March, as I'm sure you are aware, and we are looking to get people back into school as quickly as we can. So, as things stand, the plans are that we will start to conduct lateral flow testing for those who we have permission for from next week. And what we aim to do is to test sixth form students, year 12s and 13s, and then year 11s and then year 10s next week. And thank you in advance, because we've had over 70%, close to 80% of you have already given your consent for your children to get that test. I know people have got different opinions and viewpoints, which we respect. I would suggest that taking the test is in everyone's interest. It's a non-invasive, really relatively simple procedure. It gets easier the more often you do it, of course. But it's basically students, young people like ourselves, taking a swab from the back of their mouth and one nostril. And what it will do is it will enable extra safety measures really to be put in place, because it means that as everyone comes back into the busyness of school, knowing that people are highly likely to be negative, not to be carrying the virus, just increases everyone's safety. So I'd encourage you to do that if you haven't already. So we'll be sending out some letters to the sixth form this afternoon with appointment times, and then next week to parents, carers of 11s and 10s. And what we will be doing is asking students to come in during a set window, during a 10-15 minute window, to come straight into the school through the main gate and to proceed where they will be directed to the auditorium, where we've got a really good facility set up. Of course, students who've been coming to school for the last few weeks have been doing this already. They'll be taken through the device, the test, and within 30 minutes or so, a notification is sent to you as parents, carers. If anyone were to be positive, we'd obviously make sure we contact you directly straight away, and that data is obviously protected. So it just increases the safety measures. And the good thing about doing it next week is we've got a duty to get everyone through 3 tests before we then get given tests to give to yourselves, to students to take home and test at home. But it is a big logistical exercise, and we, with 3 facilities set up, which will involve around 10 to 12 different staff being busy all day, which is quite complicated to organise, we know we can get through a whole year group in a day. But obviously getting through everyone 3 times does pose some logistical challenges, so we're working on that. So, all going well next week, sixth form, 11s and 10s get tested, and then we will welcome them all back into school on Monday the 8th of March. So sixth form, year 11 and year 10 will start school again on Monday the 8th of March, and then we'll be running tests for year 9s and year 8s and year 7s. What we aim at the moment is that year 7s will then come into school on Tuesday the 9th of March, followed then by year 8s on Wednesday the 10th of March, and then year 9s on Thursday the 11th of March. And I'm sorry that some year groups are prioritised over others. We felt that after the key exam groups, it was important for maybe some of our younger students who have maybe struggled most of all during this period to get back in. And we will look forward to having all of school back by the Thursday of that week, by Thursday the 11th of March. So that's the plan as it stands, and we will send out details and all other administrative and safety sort of measures over the next week. That will include an update of our risk assessments, etc. One of the things which I'm sure you're very aware and is being debated and is in the news quite a lot is the business on mask wearing. We've got to follow the government advice, and I know there are different opinions, and I respect that. We are not looking forward particularly to having to have mask wearing in classrooms, but that seems to be very much the advice at the moment. I do think that we can very safely, completely safely, enable teachers to remove the masks when they are teaching, when they're at least 2 metres away from students, which will very much help with communications. And we can ensure safety by the most important measure, which is actually ventilating the room as well. as well as the lateral flow device testing obviously having happened. But we will get full details of that next week, and what I really want to emphasise is that I'm very confident that we can open the school very safely and that we can reasonably quickly get things back to a reasonable level of normality. And I'm hoping very much that by the summer term we will be able to remove more of the control measures safely and enable people to not have to wear masks all the time, and also actually to be able to use things like the PE changing rooms, etc. So we're looking forward very much to that, and to having our students back, having school working properly and fully again. So thanks in advance for your support, and more details will follow. In terms of other very important recent news, the notification and the general advice about exams was obviously released yesterday, and parents, carers of students in years 11, 13, 14 in particular will be very aware of that. I've sent an email to students which is on their school email, which gives them a little bit of, I hope, of reassurance and clarity about the way ahead. We don't have all of the detail, but I would suggest it's good news by and large, because we as teachers are going to be able to use our judgment and use a body of work that students have completed in the past and will complete next term to make a fair and accurate and positive assessment about children's abilities, about where they are in terms of a grade. And we will use a rigorous and robust process. We will use data that we've already collected, but we will also be running, I've got no doubt, assessments next term, not exams, but just assessments, and a body of them, a number of them in every subject, to enable us to make those very fair, reasonable and accurate gradings for students, which we will then send off to the exam boards. That process will not be clarified until the end of term, because the exam boards have still got to clarify the way ahead and give us those assessments. But what I do want to emphasise is that we're not going to have all of the students going back into school and being sat down in exam halls, and it will be fair and open, and we will do our very best for students. It will be robust. We can't just give grades away, it's got to be fair, but it will also be to every student's advantage. They will have every chance, and that's good news. So more will follow about that. And finally from me, maybe not quite as dramatic as all of the preceding information, but it's actually Careers Week next week, and I would encourage you to talk to your children a little bit about that. And they've got some assemblies and some really important information, and I think it's kind of a timely reminder that although we're going through a very dramatic time at the moment, the future beckons, and the world of careers and looking ahead and focusing on the important ways ahead for our young people is really important. The bigger picture is out there for them, and they've got lots to look forward to, and I think we all need to remember that. So if you could ask them and remind them to look at the careers information and to engage with that, that would be much appreciated. And for Year 9s in particular, it's an important time. We have the Year 9 Options Evening on Monday, 8th of March, more information just going out about that. We hope that you, Year 9 parents with your children, will join that, and that's a final summary of the way ahead and the choices, and there's an opportunity to drop into various Google meetings and talk directly to subject leads about what those different subjects offer. So that's really important. It's an exciting time for Year 9. So thank you very much again for your support, and I will get back to you with further details next week, probably with a rather lengthy letter. Apologies in advance that you've got to read that, but I will give as much detail as we possibly can, and thank you in advance for all your support. Take care, see you soon.